Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. What's going on? How y'all doing? Just trying to get everything in order and myself situated for tonight. It's a live stream time, yeah. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? It's shoot, the end of January, and it's January 27th, and yeah, there it is. How y'all doing? All right, we're just. I wonder if Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Fallon and all those people that do these shows that have like this music, and do they have to wait too? Like, is it? Sometimes I'm like, oh, should I wait? How long am I waiting? Anyway, so good to have you. We're back again. I'm Jay. We're, as always, on Thursday night, 8 p.m. We come here to do coffee and cigars for a couple hours. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, what's going on today? It's pretty cold out here, about 15 degrees, and yeah, but we got a lot going on today. So how y'all doing? What's going on with you guys? What are y'all up to? What are you smoking? What are you drinking? That kind of thing. All right, let's just get into it. We're not going to waste too much time. We've got coffee and cigars to get into. So first things first. So this morning I was online, right? And I was, going through the usual social media thing. And one of my buddies is the owner of Hansa Coffee out in Chicago. And he posts this on his Instagram, right? So here it is. Hansa Coffee, the Potomac is our take on a Maryland-themed cookie you all may know and love, but we think ours is better. And I saw that and I was like, what is that? It looks like if you look at it closely, it looks like, let me get closer. It looks like a chocolate chip cookie, right? And Rusty's asking, are you scheduled to get hit by the storm this weekend? I think so. If I look on my iPhone, like I was looking at my iPhone yesterday or this morning, and there was no snow. But a couple days ago, there was snow. Oh, now there's snow. Tonight, there's snow. Look at that. Oh, I guess we are going to, oh, man. I better put on some pants. No, this is a cookie. It's a cookie. So, and I was like, I was messaging him, right? So if you can see my message here, right? What is a Maryland-themed cookie? You can see it here. Sorry, you can see it here. What is a Maryland-themed cookie? And he said, what did he say? He said something. But anyway, so I looked it up, and it turns out there's something called Pepperidge Farm Chesapeake. So I ran out to the store and I bought it. Here it is. If you're going to have a cookie, that's the back. Or not the front. Yeah, here. That's the front. Chesapeake dark chocolate pecan cookie. So the problem is, those of you who are from Maryland know that there's no real, like, we don't have anything like this. I mean, I was messaging him. I mean, it was Tom earlier. I was going to say, here, chocolate and pecans, we call that Famous Amos. Like, there's nothing Maryland about the cookie. Like, the thing that's really Maryland. Oh, I should look this up, man. There's actually. Sorry about that. But what we have here in Maryland, we actually have or at least in Baltimore, that's a very Baltimore cookie. It's something called the burger cookie, right? Come on. Here we are, the burgers. So this is Baltimore's cookie, like these kind of Nillo-ish, wafer-ish kind of cookie that is coated in fudge, right? That's the cookie from Baltimore. That's like this is what we ship out to other people that are from Maryland or at least from Baltimore in other parts of the world. Like when Baltimore people move to other parts of the country and they like need a care package, this is the cookie they get, right? Okay. So Brian says, so he made a cookie better than store bought. Well, I mean, it's like, I get it. I mean, we all do that. Like, I mean, you can always buy a chocolate chip cookie from the store. And so any chocolate chip cookie you buy from the store or that you make could be considered you're better than the store. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that, but like, so we're going to find out what this tastes like because, it's Chesapeake. Yeah. All right. But yeah, so that's what we're doing first. And then I got another taste test after we make the coffee. Because I was at the market. I'll explain it in a moment. Okay, so basically we've got the first coffee. We're gonna do the coffee. This is a coffee called the El Bombo. El Bombo. And it's from a place called Mono Coffee Roasters. And Mono is a coffee roaster in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, and it's actually owned and run by a girl and a friend of mine, Fatin, and she has. I should turn some more lights on. And she owns the roastery, and she's been doing this for maybe about a year or so. And so she gave me this coffee right before we left, and very nice. It's a wash process Castillo varietal, 2,100 meters from Southern Huila. And should be nice. So we're going to brew some of this up. And so I've got it ground already. So what I did is I put a relatively coarse grind on it. So you can see it's a kind of like a medium light or light medium. So we're going to brew that. And Brian says if there are leftover pepper, oh yeah, no problem. There'll be plenty left over of these. Actually, if you'd like one of those milk cookies from Milk Bar, those chocolate chip cookies. Have you seen those? Whoops. I need to go to the other one. Milk Bar cookies. I gotta find it here. Here, these Milk Bar cookies. Where is it? Where's the cookies? Come on, cookies. Where are you, cookies? Cookies. Oh, no, these are different. So if you go to the grocery store, and I saw this a couple months ago, this one right here, this Milk Bar soft cookie. So I was like, okay, I'm curious. So I got this one, the blue one, the chocolate chip pretzel potato chip cookie. Because when I make my own chocolate chip cookies, man, I'm dropping all of that into it. I'm dropping whatever I gotta, potato chips, Fritos, Cheez-Its, whatever is around. I'm just tossing it in there. So I thought it'd be interesting. And it's there's no way to describe this in my world. There's no way to describe this. It's rubbish. Like I bought it, I ate one, I was all kind of interested to try it, and yeah, it's one of those soft cookies, so it's soft. But you know what, man? If you want those, Brian, you can have those too. I got a whole box. I only ate one. I was like, I had enough of that. I was like, rubbish. Oh my goodness. So Yasmin says Fatin's she's been roasting for longer though, right? I believe so. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how long she's been roasting. When I first met her 3 years ago, she was still working for Sulalat. So I'm not sure if she was roasting at that time or after she left Sulalat later that year. So yeah, I'm not sure. I've not tried the Brussels. The only thing that I know really about Pepperidge Farm is the what do you call it? The Milano. My father loved the Milanos when we were growing up, so I always tried Milano. Otherwise, I don't really know. I don't know much about them. All right, so we're going to brew, and so we're going to be using today this brewer called the Rattlewear cupping brewer. And this is a coffee brewing device that was developed by, oh, let me get another box. That was developed by this company called Rattlewear to offer a clean and, you know, another way to cup coffee and taste coffee and share that experience. And so the idea behind this is that you can brew the coffee in here and you can do everything you would normally do in a coffee cupping situation and then also share it, if that makes sense. We're going to, and so it's got this kind of like hourglass shape because the idea is that it's going to let the coffee grinds fall into the bottom, and you can then isolate those grinds, use this plunger to separate them, and then allow you to pour it without mixing the grinds in. So that's kind of the idea behind this one. So we're going to do that. We're going to take our coffee, Fatin's Huila, El Bombo. I don't know why it's called El Bombo. I want Bombo. Bomba, I believe. Bomb is, of course, bomb. Bomba. Bombo. Maybe bomb has a, maybe it's gender specific. The female bomb, the male bomb. I'm not sure. Where'd I put the coffee? I could have sworn I brought it here. Oh, there it is. Here we are. Okay, so we're going to take our coffee. We're going to use 24 grams, as always. Put that in there. Make sure it all goes to the bottom. Actually, it doesn't matter if it all goes to the bottom because we're going to pour water in. We're going to pour in 350 milliliters of water. And all we're going to do the cupping stuff, so we're going to pour it in one pour. That should give us right about there. More or less. Oh, and now we're going to wait 4 minutes. I should be ready with the timer. All right, 4 minutes. There we go. 4 minutes. We're on the way. Then Rusty says, I bought one of those at SCF years back for Ralph to take back to Hawaii. Yeah, this is actually, I think I bought this back in 2018 or so. They're a little bit hard to come by. I do have a link down below. If you want to get one in the show notes, there's a link to a place that has them right now. They have like 7 in stock left. So they don't have a tremendous amount, but if you want to give it a try, it's just an interesting way to do it. So like a cupping brewing, you can see that the cap of the coffee is floating on top. Now, Rattlewear actually recommends doing a 30-gram dose with 500 grams of water, but I didn't feel like resetting the scale. So we're just going to use our normal brewing ratio. Plus, the normal brewing ratio gives us, our normal baseline. So as you can see, it's floating. It's pretty clear. Like, I guess the coffee's a little bit on the lighter side. And we're just waiting, as with anything. So what we're talking about, so for me, it was only the Milan cookie. Like, I only know Milan. Like, what I really knew about Pepperidge, what I really liked about Pepperidge Farm, besides that old, like, white guy that was all like, Pepperidge Farm, was their bread. Like, I thought their bread, the bread they put in the plastic bag, but it's also wrapped in a paper bag inside. Like, to me, when you took that Pepperidge Farm bread and you toasted it, it had this really awesome crispiness that I really liked it. I never had it too often, but I always really liked that bread. I was like, oh, I should buy more. Actually, I was at the store buying. So I was at the store today. I went to the food line to buy the cookies, right? I was at the food line buying this. And as I'm there, they have, I don't know if they have, do they have this in Jersey, New York? But there's a company here in the Mid-Atlantic called Tasty Cake. And they do these like butterscotch crimpets and, like chocolate cake juniors. And, they're kind of like a Dolly Madison of our region. and it's what I ate. It's the snacks I had while I was growing up. And so they actually had a sale. You buy like 4 or 5 of them for $5, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's just terrible. I mean, I bought a whole spread. I'm thinking, maybe I'll make a video about, like how well do I remember? How well do the flavors that I remember translate to then, to now, from then to now? Oh yeah, you know, Rusty. Okay, good. Hey, that's not nice. That's not nice. That's not nice, hostess. Actually, where I lived when I was young, there was actually a Dolly Madison outlet not too far from our house. Actually, it was in Pikesville, and every blue moon we would go there, and that was like, oh my. And then across the street from Raul's place, the tobacco leaf, they used to have an Entenmann's bake shop there, like the outlet store, Entenmann's I think it was Entenmann's. And I always saw it. I never ever went. And then finally one day, like maybe like 3 months ago, I was in that area and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go check it out. And I drove over there because it's next to the Goodwill. And they had closed. I was like, oh my gosh, so terrible. So terrible. Oh, there's a Pepperidge Farm outlet. That'd be excellent. That's what I need to get, Pepperidge Farm outlet. All right, so we're coming up on the end. So what we have to do now, and the thing about this cupping brewer is that you have to use like apparatus, right? So, okay, good. Now you can do the things like, and I was told blabbing on, but like you can do things like smelling the aroma like you would in a cupping, do the breaking. So we'll break it and then like agitate it a little bit just so that we can get the grinds to fall, right? Because the last thing you really want is, you can see the grinds are kind of collapsing and falling. That's what we want. We want it all to settle below the waist here of the cup of the brewer so that we can then use the plunger to separate the coffee from the coffee. So we're going to let that roll for another couple minutes and we'll find more things to talk about. Another thing I'm going to be tasting tonight, and this was just a last minute addition. What the real tasting was going to be tonight was that I had the taste for a dessert called kunefa. And I don't know if you know about kunefa, but kunefa is this Middle Eastern dessert where they use vermicelli noodles that are made from puff pastry. And so these are very short puff pastry noodles, kind of like the length that you would have of the vermicelli noodles in rice-a-roni. And imagine thinner and, like they're sandwiched, right? And so they're mixed with butter or actually mixed with ghee, and they're like pan fried, and you put this type of like cheese between the two layers of the vermicelli, and then you turn it over and you cook both sides, and it's crispy and browned, and like you put like a sweet sauce, like a simple syrup or maybe a honey-based simple syrup over it with ground pistachios, and it's really, when it's done well, it's really fantastic. So I had this taste for it, and I was like, I need to go find it. So I drove over to this halal store that was actually strange because it was like, okay. And I didn't talk to the owner about it, but I thought it was kind of strange. But so I go to this place. It's called Jerusalem Market. And you think Jerusalem Market, it's Israeli, right? But I think it's Arabic because everything there was Arabic and like Turkish. And I was like, oh, interesting. Anyway, so they had the frozen kunefa. So I bought that and I made that. But while I was there, I saw they had this Arabian Twinkies. And I was like, what? Arabian Twinkies? It looks kind of, if you look at this packaging, it looks kind of small, like almost like a candy bar. And I was like, what's going on with Arabian Twinkies? See, look, it's Arabian. You can see the writing here. Golden sponge cake with creamy filling. Gâteau de mousseline d'eau avec un récipient crémeux. And then the Arabic, I can't read that at all. Anyway, so I thought, okay, let me go. We're gonna do head-to-head taste test. So, Arabic Twinkies, American Twinkies. Huh? Huh? So once the coffee's ready, we'll do some coffee tasting. We'll do some Twinkie tasting, some Chesapeake tasting, and then we'll get to the cigar. I think that's what I think so. Oh yes, you want to make so. I saw that recipe where they take the milk and the like cornstarch. That's the filling you're thinking about. That looked pretty good too. But I remember that one place that at the expo, the place that we went to there, they had like the cheese with the stringy cheese. That was, oh man, that's good. That's good. Sounds like kataifi. Kataifi. What is kataifi? That I'm not familiar. Oh, I guess that's the brand. Okay. Yeah. So I have the package. Like and the one that I bought has like two like round small ones. They're okay. Okay. Now that I've eaten them or ate one of them, they're okay. Right? They're not great. They're not like, of course, they're not like the ones that I've had in Saudi Arabia, but you know, it's a reasonable facsimile, but I think next time I'm going to make it. So Brian says it needs, so actually, Brian, close to your house. So if you go on, is it Joppa Road? Not Joppa Road. If you go on your road, if you go out of your house, turn right, take that all the way across to Perring Parkway, towards Perring Parkway, kind of next door to, or very close to Papa's on Hillen Road, I think it is. There's a place called Damaskino, Damaskino, Damaskino. That is also a Middle Eastern market, and they sell a little bit more. Like what I noticed about Jerusalem, they didn't sell like a lot of frozen meats. Damaskino, you can actually buy like frozen like lamb, not the whole lamb, but like portions of the lamb. So in some respects, Damaskino has more, and I'm sure Damaskino has the kunefa. Actually, I was going to go to Damaskino originally, but I decided I'd never been to Jerusalem, so I thought I'd go there. And Yasmina says, I don't know what the milk and cornstarch. Oh, walnuts and sugar. Oh, interesting. Yes, you'll have to like maybe post a video about that and let us see. All right, so now as you can see, now that I've been talking, you can see that most of the filling or the grinds have floated to the bottom. I'm just kind of knocking it down to hopefully knock more. Oh, some of that's coming up now. Okay, maybe that was not smart. Oh, we'll wait another couple minutes for it to come down. But as you can see, there's been a little more clarification of the sediment. So the liquid is looking a little bit more clear. It's not fully clear, right? Like it's still a little bit cloudy. Oh, you want the Twinkie. Oh, yeah. So if you go then, I don't know if they might have this at Damaskino, but the Twinkie is from Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is basically kind of next to the Ford dealership on Security Boulevard, more or less next to it. All right, so let's try it. We're going to try this now. We're going to decant the coffee. I'm going to put this in. As you can see, I'm putting it in. I'm going to find our way down to the middle. Like the last time I used this, we had disaster. So we're not going to do that again, hopefully. Now, here's the thing. It's really difficult to use one hand to like hold, right, like this and pour. So you really need to it's better to use two hands just so that it's more secure, especially after you've waited all this time. We're going to decant it into our typical server. So I'm going to hold it here and then just pour it in. Now, there's still quite a bit of coffee and grinds in here, so you could decant it more. We're not going to worry so much about that. But as you can see, we've got it decanted now. And it's got about 300 mils in it because the other 50 are in the bottom, so it's perhaps not the most yield that you get out of it. All right, let's try it. Let's try it now. This is the El Bombo Colombia. Oh, it's got kind of like cacao notes on the nose. Kind of a warmness. It's got pretty good body. Like I'd say medium bodied. Low on the brightness. The acidity is low. A little bit of creaminess to it. Right now, there's a little bit of kind of like a woodsy character to the coffee. Interesting. All right. Let's get into the tasting then. All right. So first up is the Twinkie. This is the Arabic Twinkie. So we're going to open it up and see what's inside. It has the holes, the classic holes of American Twinkie. A little more glazed looking, doesn't it? Look at that. It looks more glazed. It looks pretty golden, like a little bit darker, like it's cooked a little bit more. A little bit glazy. All right, we're going to put this down. I'm going to put this here. Let me center it so you can see. Okay. Is that better? All right. Now, standard American Twinkie. Can I open it now? Here we get two for like $1.95. And it's got a sticky board, sticks to the board a little bit. All right, there we are. All right, so definitely, as in America, as typical, America is always bigger and better, bigger. America, Arabia, America. So like you can see the length is about the same. Oh, look, there's a little bit of unevenness in the way that they bake. They're both kind of slanted. Interesting. All right, so we're going to do the Arabic first. Oh, a bit on the dry. Oh, the filling has some crunch to it, like it was like granulated sugar mixed into it, and then it's still kind of crunchy. Pretty sweet, bit of lemon. You know, I think so. This is the only one they had. They actually had a box of them, and I think there's like maybe like 12 in a box, but they were selling these single, and so they might have them double. But then again, you know, most places around the world aren't as interested in getting you as fat as we are here. So that was interesting. Like, it's been so long since I've had a Twinkie, I don't recall what this is supposed to taste like. All right, here we go. American Twinkie. Softer. There's no crunchiness to the filling. The filling is much more smooth, really, really smooth comparatively speaking, like more like this one is kind of buttercreamish, right? With the way that the crunchiness goes, and definitely you can see there's more fill. Oh yeah, I took a bite. There's no filling at all in here, so maybe the filling is like, yeah, there's the filling there, but here the filling is like in the middle of it all, in the middle of where. So I think the filling of the Twinkie goes all, the American Twinkie goes all the way through, and it's also glossier the filling, so it actually kind of has more of a like an oil-based hydrogenated oil kind of character to it. I was thinking that the lemon was more pronounced in the Arabic version, but I don't think so. Now that I took the two bites together. You know, there's definitely like this sponginess to it that's not exactly pleasant. Does it say the wrapper where the Arabic Twinkies are made? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Mamma mia. My mouse. All right, let's see. Where is it made? Here it is. Produced by Edita Food Industries, SAE, Egypt, manufactured in Egypt. So these are made in Egypt, and the ingredient list. Oh my gosh, that's really small. Sugar, wheat flour, egg, hydrogenated vegetable oils, water, palmolene, stabilizers, xanthan gum, whey milk, leavening agents, skimmed milk powder, edible emulsifiers from vegetable source, calcium propionate, E282, ascorbic acid, vanillin, natural identical flavors. Oh, that's interesting. Natural. Oh, butter, malt. And then compared to the American, oh, the American doesn't have any kind of like backing to help you really see, except for that white backing. Oh, also look at this in here. I don't know if you can see it, but now that I'm trying to pull them apart, it's very oily. Like the interior is very oily. And I don't think I can read this because it's clear. Sugar, water, enriched flour, malted barley flour, more or less similar ingredients. So it's similar, but not exactly the same, because the way that they taste is quite different. Oh my gosh. And that the crunchiness in the Arabic version, in the filling of the Arabic version, is a little bit strange. Like to the American palate, I think it's very strange. Like you don't really like that. Like you want your buttercream to be very smooth, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's too much. Like I can't eat any more of that. That's just a little bit. Like I don't think I'm gonna feel. Oh no. Okay. There we are. I dropped my mouse earlier. All right, so let's see here. Like cocoa meat with sugar and corn first crunch to 1 degree. So that was the ingredients. Got that. Yeah. So that was. Gosh, I wipe my hands. Okay, we still have some more coffee. Coffee's doing all right. Now, time for the next taste test, the Chesapeake. Just because I'm curious. I'm curious to know this Chesapeake thing. Why they call it Chesapeake? Like, is there any part of Maryland and Chesapeake that? Like, what's this? Is there a significance to this cookie? I don't understand. But let's see what it tastes like, nonetheless. Oh, there's 2 levels, 4 per level. Mm-hmm. So you can see the pecans and the chocolate chips. Actually, it smells kind of pleasant. And it looks pretty good. Let's break it in part. Let's break it in half. Oh, it's kind of hard. It's kind of a crispy cookie. Actually, that doesn't look terrible. Like it looks all like full of. It's a crunchy, chocolate chip cookie. Brown sugar, butter, dark chocolate, maybe like 60% dark chocolate. Kind of like Famous Amos, but bigger. I used to tear through Famous Amos, especially if you got a big glass of milk. Oh, yeah. All right, that's not bad. I mean, I don't know what it has to do with Maryland, but not bad. I might finish this now. All right. That's enough now. Getting a little bit carried away. All right. So today's cigar is the Plasencia Cosecha 149 from Nicaragua. And it's called the 149 Cosecha. Cosecha, if you're not familiar, is the Spanish term for harvest. So the 149 means that it's their 149th family harvest. So I guess they've been around for that long. Actually, they've been around for a long time. One of my early trips to Nicaragua back in 2011, one of my good friends that actually owns a coffee farm in Ocotal, his good friend is actually friends with Nestor Plasencia's son. They went to school together and all that. So this is back in 2011. We had the chance to go to Plasencia and did a tour, and like we went up there and visit, and he took us around, and really nice time. Beautiful. They've got this beautiful like hacienda type, Spanish hacienda type of factory. So you walk in, it's very, the clay tile roof. They've got the center courtyard with a fountain. It's really, really pretty. And they were doing some interesting stuff. So they gave us a full tour of the factory. Really, really nice. And so back then, the Plasencia was really more of a manufacturer for other brands. They had like maybe 2 lines of cigars that they were releasing on their own, but they really weren't widely distributed, and they were very mild and a little bit more on the benign, side of the flavor spectrum. Whereas recent release, that's when they finally started doing their own like releases, then they really started getting very much alive with their stuff. So like if you get the Alma Fuerte, man, there's a lot of power, a lot of strength, a lot of flavor, right? I don't know what this is going to be like. We hope we're going to be good. Brian says, I didn't realize we were known for our pecan orchards. Oh, yeah, can you believe it? I had no idea. All right, so got a greeting form. We're going to be reviewing our cigar. And again, as always, the cigar, tonight's cigar comes from Tobacco Leaf in Jessup, Maryland. If you need any, want your cigars, go see Raul. He's just a friend. This is the El Toro. Is it El Toro? Gordito. Let me look up here this is the cigar. So they've got 3 sizes of the Cosecha. The Gordito and 4 7/8 by 60, the Robusto at 5 by 52, and then the Toro at 6 by 52. When I went to pick these up, these were the only ones that they had at Raul's place. So rich balanced puro from our first all Honduran cigar. Okay. Grown in the fertile Honduran regions of Olancho, the Jamastran Valley, and Talanga, acquiring a deep, well-fermented character while aging since being harvested in 2014. 149 is a full-body, medium to full-strength cigar balanced by distinct notes of cream. So I read somewhere else that it was really based on their harvest, their numbered harvest, which reminded me of this champagne company that I like called Yaxon. And Yaxon is a champagne house that kind of does their own thing. Like how Plasencia is using the number of the harvest. That's essentially what Yaxon is doing with their cuvées. And so instead of like declaring vintage years, they actually talk about their harvest number. So right now, I think the most recent harvest that you can get is 744, or is it 745? I just saw it at Wine Source last week. It's about $100, I think, or so. And I haven't tried it, but a few years back, they released their 739. And like, I'm not really a big champagne person. Like, I've tried a lot of champagnes, but I don't really find them to be my fancy. Well, that Jackson 739 was my fancy. Actually, I was at a champagne tasting. So a friend of mine was opening a restaurant downtown, and so he called me up. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna do a taste some wines. Why don't you stop by?" All right, so I'll stop by. The distributor poured us some of the 739, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I drove straight to the wine stores and I bought like whatever they had left. I was like, "I need this bottle." So, but the subsequent ones, like 741 was the next one, and it was good, but it wasn't quite the character of the 739 that I really liked. So I don't know how the 44s and the 45s are now. But anyway, it just reminds me of that kind of naming convention, which I think is interesting. All right, so here's our cigar. Oh. Only one tobacco harvest in Honduras per year. As far as my understanding, yes, that is true. So if they follow similar harvests that the coffee industry follows, then in Central America, yeah, it's typically one. Like in coffee, we only get one harvest in Central America. When you get further south, closer to the equator, in Colombia for coffee, they'll actually have 2 harvests. They'll have a major harvest in November, and then a smaller secondary harvest in like June, July. But I believe with tobacco, it's only once a year, because I think it does take that full time to grow big, and especially like unlike coffee, where you put the plant in the ground, you wait 5 years for it to mature to develop good fruit and good production numbers, and then you start to harvest. With tobacco, you have to plant seeds every year because you're essentially destroying the whole plant every year that you harvest. All right, so little wrapper. Let's take it out of the cello. So it has 3 bands, 4 bands, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3 bands. This cap size, this cap towards the cap, the regular band, and then a foot band, Cosecha Privada. So private harvest. Nice, dark, and oily looking wrapper. Look at that. Okay, we'll take the footband off. So what are you guys all smoking tonight? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're just joining us, we're smoking, we're drinking the El Bombo from Colombia, roasted for us by Mono Roastery in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And now we're going to be smoking the Plasencia Cosecha number 149. So let's see. It's a bit on the darker side, right? So look at that. It's a little bit on the darker side. Not totally dark, but, you know, a good, robust darkness to it. Lightly fragrant. Like, you know, some cigars come off with like heavy, like barnyard manure notes. This has kind of like maybe like a light, sweet barnyard. Not quite manure, but just very light and sweet. Maybe light, sweet barnyard. Maybe light manure. Maybe a sweet manure. All right. Time for the cutting with the MTX Xikar cutter. All right, there it is. The cut is done. More or less even. Try to clean up for the palate from the cookie. Easy, light draw. Not too much resistance, but so like some cigars have good resistance and you get that nice kind of like suction. This one's a little bit light. So it's a little bit, it feels like it's a little bit fast. What's up, Tony? Correct. Only about one harvest per year. Todos los días from Dunbarton. Oh, nice, nice. And a Diet Cherry Pepsi. Excellent, excellent. Brian wants to know if Steve's here. Steve, are you with us? Don't be sleeping. Don't do that. So the size is 6'6" by 4 7/8. So just under 5 inches. Is that right? That looks kind of like a... Really? 6 by 12. Oh yeah, 6 and 7, 4 and 7/8. So, or more or less. Right. It's the draw on this one is kind of like those ones that are really loose and you feel like you want to kind of bite down here on the cap just to restrict it and give you a little bit more pull. Almost to that. Upon first glance, looking up. Yeah, I think it's a bit longer than the nubs, a little bit longer. All right, so we're going to light with our famous Davidoff light matches. Oh, Steve, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Welcome. How's things in Arizona tonight? If you're smoking, let us know what you're smoking. All right, so we're going to light up. I feel like it's a bit hot, the light. A little bit of spiciness on the light. Brent says he likes to use punch cut on loosely rolled cigars. Oh, that's probably a good thing. Give that restriction. So the first couple initial puffs, Very positive. A lot of spice. Just a nice spicy blend there. Not really black pepper spice, not that kind of stuff, but just that kind of like mixed spice. Burning masala spice. Kind of like a light cinnamon, like right on the edge of the tongue. But it's a big cigar. It's a thick cigar. Ooh, not bad. Not bad. So far, so good. Plasencia 149 Cosecha. This is the Gordito, what they call the El Toro. Santa Fe. Santa Fe. It's called the Santa Fe, not the El Toro. So fragrance and cold draw, very good. That's what I'm going to say. Very good for the fragrance and cold draw. Maybe like an 8.25. Good quality fragrance, good quality cold draw. And it's starting off nice. Like I noted earlier that the draw is a little bit on the loose side. It's not too loose, but it's kind of riding that edge. Like if it were any looser, I'd want to like cinch down on it to make it like tighter. But so far, good smoke production. A little bit of bitiness on the tongue. I'm starting to get a little bit of burning, uneven burn. Right? Maybe I'm puffing on it a little bit too hard. So I don't know if you guys watched the Boba Fett last night. Or, yeah, it came out yesterday, right? So I watched it yesterday. Well, whenever it came out, I watched it yesterday, last night. Pretty good, but although we went back, it's like Mandalorian. Where was Boba the whole time? And something here I haven't figured out. And it's probably one of those things where I could probably read about it somewhere online, like Wikipedia or something like that. But basically, Jango Fett, his father. So was Jango a Mandalorian? Or was he just how did Jango Fett get the armor? That's kind of what I'm interested to know. And I understand that, like, if they're gonna have Mando come back if they're gonna have Mando come into the Boba Fett series, then obviously Boba Fett is now the daimyo of Mos Espa on Tatooine. So if he's going to be involved in the show, of course he has to go to Tatooine, right? So without giving too much away, Mando is actually somewhere else in the galaxy. He's probably somewhere in the Outer Rim. Well, who knows where he is? He's on this other city, and then he leaves, and he's like, he's going to go somewhere. He gets on this. Actually, he gets on like a cruise ship, and he goes somewhere, and he goes back to Tatooine in the Outer Rim. And all I could think when he did that, and I get the whole deal that he has to go, he's on Boba's show, so he has to go to Tatooine. But it's like, in Star Wars, is there nowhere else to go except to Tatooine? Like, they always go back to Tatooine. Always. Why? There's nothing there. There's 2 suns. There's no water. There's only dead Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. Bunch of Jawas running around. Why do you want to go back to Tatooine? Like, Luke didn't want to be in Tatooine. Biggs didn't want to be in Tatooine. Everyone wanted to leave Tatooine. Yet we go back and back again. Even Jakku was like Tatooine. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? This is what I was wondering about last night as I'm watching. Can we not go somewhere else in the galaxy? And everywhere they go, like in the other movies, it's kind of desolate, right? Like that planet in the last movie, the red one, the red sand that's underneath the white sand. Like, there's nothing there. It's just desolate. The Fourth Moon of Yavin, Desolate. Is that what it is? Okay, I guess so. I guess the coffee is good. Coffee and women are good on Tatooine. Oh, they have the best drug. Okay, I get it. I get. Okay, I get. I'm okay with that. I'm just curious to know why we're always going back there. Like the prequel movies, we went everywhere else. Like, did we go to Tatooine in the prequel movies? I don't recall. And then we didn't really go to Tatooine in the spin-off movies, like the one with Jyn Erso, where they all had to die at the end of the movie, and the Han Solo movie. They didn't go to. At least they went somewhere else. But again, they went to a planet. Or where they dropped off the dilithium, or not dilithium? That's Star Trek. But where they dropped off the gas, was that Tatooine or was that somewhere else? Just wait till they start doing the multiverse. Oh, God. Yeah, but it'll be all Tatooine. Maybe in the multiverse, Tatooine will be still an ocean planet, like Kamino. Maybe Tatooine was like Kamino at one point. Maybe Tatooine was Kamino. What do you think? I don't know. The problem with the multiverse, though, is that all we're going to get is more Luke. Like, I was tired of Luke after the first 3 movies. So here we go. We're rolling along. And nice. It's good. It's good. Solid spice, but the spice is on the lighter side. It's not too like forwardy, right? The body is kind of like a medium low. Flavor is good, like a solid good. So speaking of the scoring sheet, right? So I finally decided to get more feedback on the scoring, the grading form. So I made a post out into one of the cigar forums earlier today, and I was like, this is what I've been thinking about, and this is what I've been working on. So let me have your thoughts. Let me have your thoughts, because I'm curious to know what people think. And it got some good feedback, got some interesting thoughts. But and then I posted the scores that I had given for the last 3 shows, right? For the Oliva Series V 135, for the McFly, and the LCA. And they're, you know what, with this scoring system, they're a little bit on the harsh side. Like it's kind of like, I think everybody else is like 89, 90, 93, 91, 91. These, they're pretty low, 80.25, 68.25, 82.25. I mean, they're pretty, like, if you're going to push into the 90s with this scoring system, it's got to be real. I think it's got to be really good, like awesome. But I'd encourage you guys to give it. Well, I'd like for you guys to give it a try. Download it. Try using it. Tell me what you think, because I'm really interested to know, how people use it, or, get feedback from people that have actually tried it, so that we can still make tweaks. Nothing's in stone, of course. It's definitely a more lighter cigar. So they've been aging this tobacco. It's from the 2014 harvest. Like, I wonder what is the purpose for something like this. Like, they talk about here the flavor profile, right? Tabacos Oriente, but they don't at least Plasencia doesn't say what their deal is. Let's look at what other people have to say about it. Here it is. So they actually put more. They put more out, I guess, because they have to put it out for their PR stunt. But they should at least put that on their website, right? Plasencia Cigars announced they're now shipping the Cigar 149, shown off at the 2021 PCA show. $12. So this is about 12. Yeah, I got this for like $12. What else? Box of 10. Like the packaging is very pretty. Look at that. The packaging is nice. Like all of the packaging now, like the Almafuerte black and the Almafuerte red, they're all really nicely done. Like the packaging looks super sharp. And you know what? Here it is. $12. Nice package. You know, if we went to some other brands, this would easily be $18. Now this is pretty, you know, but to be fair, $12 for this cigar is pretty cheap for Plasencia's releases lately. Like if you get into the Almafuerte, again, very nice packaging, really good smoke. Actually, I thought the Almafuertes were excellent. The black Almafuerte, excellent smoke. But you're going to pay a premium. $20, $25 maybe. Great inflation, you paid your own way, so that's the great. Well, that's why with this the scoring system that I'm working on it's based off of the coffee, especially coffee scoring system, and where it's really about correlating your score to your descriptors, right? So if you're sitting there saying that, oh, this is very good. What do you think about this cigar? Very good. It's really very good. But you're like, it's 90. Well, very good isn't 90. Very good is like 70 something. Right. So it's one of those things where like, and it's kind of like when with judges for our barista championships, we're training, we always try to train them to think about like, how do they describe the experience? And does the scoring correlate to the description? Right? That's kind of the idea behind it. And hopefully that way we get more of a objective approach to the scoring rather than truly subjective. Like I think most of what's happening now is very subjective. One of the respondents in the thread mentioned how like a CA, Cigar Aficionado, has their own scoring system where they have 5 categories of 20 points each. But that's a pretty heavy weight, you know, like that 5. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you know, are they all that great? Like you have 20 points in a category, and are they all like 19, 18, 17 points? Or they, you know, I find that hard to believe as well. All right, so it's an exciting project for Plasencia, but why? Doesn't say why. Who knows why? Maybe these guys will tell us more. I hate all these pop-up things. All right, Luxury Cigar Club, we're out of there. Cigar Journal, let's see what they say. Maybe they have a longer press release. These press releases suck. Look at this. They tell us nothing. They tell us nada. So Cosecha 149 commemorates the family's 149th yearly tobacco harvest. Okay, that's cool. And, you know, aged tobacco from the 149th had reached perfection this year. But what's the intent? Like, what are you trying to give us with this cigar? This blend of tobaccos that you've made? Like, what are we supposed to experience? Like, it's a celebratory cigar, 149. Sure, that's maybe a milestone, but what is it about this cigar that I'm supposed to be like, oh, this is awesome? That's really kind of what I'm interested to know, at least. Plus, also, why 149? Why not 150? What's so special about 149? Are we just taking the approach that tomorrow's not guaranteed? Yeah, so far so good. Even the burn is relatively even. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Tony says 20 points equalized by the advertisement. Yeah, that's what a lot of people do say. You know, a lot of people are convinced that advertising equals better scoring with Cigar Aficionado. If it sells well, expect the 150. Oh, that's for sure. The 2015 harvest will be, but why? Like, I want to know why and what am I supposed to expect? Let's see what Half Wheel has to say. I'd probably just have the same thing. Oh, this is a different one. This is the Azacualpa, which is the smaller size. Maybe they have more. History is an anniversary of big parts of cigar industry. Anyone who's going to pay the slightest amount of attention to the news, blah, 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 blah. The latest cigar from Plasencia 1865, the number is 149. 149th crop. Cosecha 146, released 2017. So I guess they're not doing every year. And while using Honduran tobacco for the wrapper and part of the filler, also used Nicaraguan tobacco for the binder as well as part of the filler. This time, that was the last one. Honduran Puro, wrapper from Olancho San Agustin, binder from Hamastran, filler from Hamastran, Olancho, and Talanga. 3 different sizes, Tabacos de Oriente. So here's their review. Let's see what they have to say. Wrapper's an impressively dark brown. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Nice brown, not too much oils, dry to the fingers. That's true. Same, at least same with mine. Veins aren't big. Shocking one is hard. Foot of the cigar varies a bit. Very like sweetness, some black pepper. Yeah. The latter of which hangs around the nostrils for a bit. The third, I didn't really get too much black pepper. Spiciness, but not black pepper. Cold draw, smooth and easy. Maybe a little bit too easy, like right on the edge. It's still right on the edge. So this one's, of course, a thinner cigar, so it's going to have a bit of a different experience than the one we're smoking tonight. All right, we'll come back to that later. At least they have something there. Yeah, I just wish they would tell us more. Like, what should we expect? And why? Like, what are you trying to craft here? So how are your guys' smokes coming along? Pretty well? Not so well? Frustrating. Last night we were out at the Davidas store, hanging out with some buddies, and I picked up what was it? The Padron 7000 Natural. They were out of the Maduros. And you know what? It was a little bit on the dry side, burned hot, burned a bit like bright and acrid. It wasn't terribly exciting. Like I was really like disappointed with it. I was like, and that for me at least, that's kind of atypical for Padrones. Like usually I really enjoy the Padrones, but that natural. Normally I get with the 1000 series cigars from them, I normally will get their Maduro, but they didn't have the 7000 Maduro, and I was really buying by price point. So look, I think that one was like $750. And it wasn't it was disappointing. Brian says the Davidas humidifier side. Yeah, I probably. I also bought a Revenge from them. I smoked that after. I don't think that was too bad. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Probably a little bit on the dry side. All right, while we're smoking, let's have a look at our mailbag. Not too much this week. Just a couple items. So I got this little tiny package. Oh, there's a pull tab. I know it's not. So in here, we've got a bunch of, I believe, razor blades. Yeah. So over a year ago, I started changing up the way that I do my shaving. Oh, right. Sorry, Brian. I started changing the way that we do the shaving, right? And so I started getting into the double edge shaving, the old school shaving style. And so I bought a sampler pack of like 5 different blades. I think 3 or 5 of each. And I've gone through them all over the last. So I started in November 2020. Is that right? November 2020? Yeah, November 2020. So it's been 14 months. And I'm getting close to running out. So I ordered another sampler pack. I guess these are all 5. So here's what I got. I got the Swiss D. Is this right? The LOI Salon blades. Pack of those. Pack of Sharps. Gillette Platinums. These are Russian Vukshods. Astras. I got these off of Amazon. Very, very, very affordable. Sharks, which are pretty well rated. And then what is this? Oh, Derby Extras. And then the Japanese feathers. These are the ones that a lot of the guys that I converse with online, they talk about the feathers being the super sharp ones. These are the Japanese blades. And they're supposed to be like super, super sharp. And you can kind of feel it. But honestly, so one of the guys was asking me, because I was asking him a question, like, you can buy like a box of let's say these blades, any of these blades for I don't know, I think the box of 100 blades is maybe like $12, some ridiculously cheap price per shave, because you can get maybe 3 to 5 shaves out of each blade, and you're getting 300 shaves for less than you'd pay for the multiple cartridges. And so it's a bit economical, and there's environmental things people talk about. I don't really know anything about that. But I do find it to be an interesting method of shaving, and it's a bit, masculine from an old era where you're doing manly things. Now it is more dangerous. Like you will cut yourself. Like the first time that I ever used it, like I cut myself. Plus, you're using these like metal razors, and it's like I remember they were noticeably heavier, like than the plastic one. I always used the cheap multiple cartridges, multi-blade cartridges, and so it was super heavy. Like it took me a few weeks to get used to that weight. So Diane says, sounds like a razor review video is coming. No, I don't think so. I mean, I have purposely and then very intentionally stayed away from getting too crazy. Like you can get the guys that are on these forums, they get crazy. Like they're like cigar guys, right? They hear guys with these guys, hundreds of blades. Like they're buying 100 packs of all these different manufacturers. It's like, why do you need 500 blades? Like that's going to last 1,500 shaves. 15, that's, you know, if you shave every day, that's at least 5-6 years. But it's like cigar guys, you know, you get all this stuff. And I bought, I was actually at the razor that I use is a cheap one. Like I was at Wegmans of all places, and they had this in their men's grooming section. They had like a $25 set of this like Van Heusen, like really simple razor and a pack of blades. And so I bought that, and then I've just been swapping out the blades. I don't, supposedly there's a different like experience using all these different razors, right? The handles. And I just have decided not to get too far into that. I just needed to shave. Actually, if you want to see something really like funny with that respect, or at least interesting, and I do watch his videos, right? So I'll watch his videos. There's a guy online. I think he's is he from Ireland or Scotland or something like that? I think it's Ireland. It's called Executive Shave or Executive Shaving. It's on YouTube. So if you go to if you look up on YouTube, Executive Shaving, there's this like older, like Irish guy, silver hair, crop, but fit, like a fit guy, like one of those fit guys. And he owns the company. All he does is talk about shaving. And like, he's the guy like that I actually like will watch and listen to, because there's all these other guys that talk about shaving and like, you know, grooming, but they're like dandy kind of guys. And I'm like, you know, they're really into like, you know, clothing and stuff, which is cool. I'm down with that. But they're a little more dandy. Like this guy from Executive Shaving, he's like a man. He's like the man's man. Like he's like the guy you look at, you think, yeah, that guy got into a lot of bar fights. Like he would have been fighting his way in the streets of Dublin. Everybody else, they're more posh, right? No Xikar? You mean the shaver? Do they make shavers? No, see, that's bad. Maybe we'll get Xikar to sponsor us. Xikar shaver? No. I don't think they have any shavers Xikars. Just cutters. Oh, that would be something. We should. Oh, there we go. That's what we're talking. Landscape mound. That's what we like. That's what we like to see. Is temperature rising? What are we saying for snow? So we're supposed to have snow tonight. Is that right? Good. I can finally finish this video that I'm working on. I've been making the video with this Ember mug. Sorry, Brian, it's taking a long time, but I heard it was going to be snowing sometime this week. I've been waiting to like do the final segment of it. Oh, no. So earlier, yeah, you're right. It's earlier. It was going to snow tonight. Actually, if you rewind to the beginning of the show, there was actually snowflakes tonight, but now it looks like it's going to be tomorrow afternoon. I hope we get a lot. Like, I'd like to have a lot so that visually, I think it'd be very stimulating. Oh, it's going to snow. 40% snow, 30% snow, 50%. So not too high percentage. It could very easily change. Then Saturday, windy Saturday. Make this guy sound like the Mandalorian. Mandalorian. I just heard last night that Resident Alien is back on it with season 2. So I'm interested to check that out. You know, the one show that I haven't watched yet, haven't really watched. I really have a hard time getting into this season is the Cobra Kai. Like, I watched the first episode and that was good. The second episode I was only maybe like 20% into it, like a quarter of the way into it. And then I was just kind of like, oh, I'm tired of watching this. I'm out. So I haven't gone back to it yet. Oh, yeah. He's a good guy. I think you should check it out. It's good. If you're interested in like shaving, he's got some interesting stuff. Here in New Jersey, we're supposed to get the brunt of it late Friday night, and Saturday looks like a full-blown blizzard. Whoa, Bomb Cyclone. Whoa. No, be safe out there, man. That's craziness. Yeah, up here where I live in Cockeysville, we've kind of skated by all of this. Like the last big snowfall, it was all south of where I am. Up to the point where friends would be posting from just 5-6 miles away. And I was so shocked at how much snow they had. They had like 4 or 5 inches, where up here we had like a light dusting. It was very strange, like very freaky. All right, let's see how our coffee's doing. A little bit on the dry side. A little more mellow, a little bit smoother. Nice kind of balance to the cigar. The ash did fall out. So we lost our ash. Now I'm going to lose the band. Big band. It's getting difficult to remove. These guys are obviously following the Roma Craft playbook of band removal. Okay, not too bad. And then we're going to take this last other band off. So Rusty says, North Jersey, where I'm kind of lucked out this season so far. Oh, that's good. South Jersey and the coast is getting it all. Usually it's reversed. Hey, speaking of which, that reminds me, I don't know if we had talked about this, Rusty, but I was watching some video about this Australian dudes that are doing a barbecue in Wildwood, New Jersey, like a barbecue shop. And I was thinking, man, maybe I should drive down there and check it out. But it's all the way down by by Cape May, like way, way south. I don't know, maybe in the future we'll do an outing. So this cigar, so far, we're kind of getting to the end of the very first third, or probably we're at the end of the very first third. And construction-wise, it's been good. Draw, it's been good, solid. The body, I'd say the body is kind of medium light. But it's the quality of the body has been good. It's very consistent. Flavor-wise, so here's the thing. Flavor-wise, it's, to my palate, that's pretty benign. Like, it's not terribly exciting. It's got a light spiciness to it. It's got complexity. It's got some dynamism, but it's just not really a lot of oomph, like not like a lot of like flavors that I'm like, oh, I'm really interested. Like the quality of the flavor is very good. I'd say very good. But is it the flavor that I like? Not necessarily. Like it's not really got for me, it doesn't have a flavor that I'm really, that's really holding my interest. Like now we're getting to the point where it's getting to be a little bit rote, right? Which is why which is what brought me a question of like, what was their intent with this cigar? Like, perhaps if they had said what this is what we're trying to do, this is the intent, this is our philosophy behind blending this cigar, that would have led more insight to have greater appreciation for it. But since none of that has been revealed, it's just kind of like, all right, so we've got this special cigar. It's got special blend of tobaccos from a special harvest year, but nicely made, good draw, good smoke production. But what else is there? Like, what else is it offering? So flavor-wise, I'd say, I think the quality of the flavor, very good. Oh my gosh. Inting, how are you, my man? Good to see you again. How have you been? The last time I think we saw you, you were on the way to the Philippines or in the Philippines. How was your trip? So Brian wants to know, did I say the flavors? Yes, it's getting to be rote. Like the first third, interesting, like it's new, it's fresh, it's interesting, right? Because it's new. But now it's not really, it's still kind of the same. Like at the end of the first third or going to the second third, it's kind of the same. So I'm hoping there's some level of dynamism that really comes into play, like it comes alive or changes or does something. Otherwise, it's just, Oh, so Waldo's not too far. Okay, that's good. That's good. I'd like to check that out. And also, I was thinking, I would like to do a cheesesteak exploration or a steak exploration. Yeah, last time we saw you in Ting, you were telling us that you were in Manila and you had brought 4,000 cigars with you. So what have you guys been doing this week? This week, I watched this podcast, this live stream on sometimes. I don't always get to catch it, but I got to catch it again yesterday and 2 weeks ago. There's a live stream called the C47. And it's an interesting one, but for me at least it's interesting because it's a photography related live stream where these three guys from around the country, they come together on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. and they talk cameras and stuff like that. Good. 146 from your house. Okay, we'll definitely do it. And they do so this year they're talking about doing a challenge, a black and white photography challenge. So if you're into photography, you might be interested. It's black and white film. So you have to shoot film, black and white. You have to do 2 submissions, one daylight, one low light or nighttime. You're in PI. Okay, so time to do. Oh, there's a typhoon going on. Wow. Oh, I didn't know there was a typhoon. One of my other friends was just saying that he's there. He didn't say anything about the typhoon. So have you been there since the last time we saw you, or did you come home between then and went back? Because I feel like it's been quite a while. And you're down in Cebu, is that right? I was just talking to someone online yesterday, or on one of the forums yesterday, and he said that he was in Manila, and I was like, well, I usually hang out at a place called Albert's when I'm in Manila, but I don't know if they're open now because of the pandemic. So how is it there during the pandemic? Are places open? Can you go out? I'm curious. I'm curious to know. And when will you come back? Yeah, Brian, actually, it's one of those things where like the feeling is a little bit like right now, just that last puff, I was thinking if I could just go faster with the smoke, like it's not really holding my interest. All right, so Instinct says went back for 6 weeks and spent the holidays there. Too bad there was a typhoon. Visayas and northern Mindanao got that. Oh man, really? Good Lord, how come I didn't even know about this? Oh my gosh. Oh yes, good thing. How many do you have left now? Like you had a ridiculous amount when you went. Like, I can't say that it's not a bad cigar. It's very good. Like, quality-wise, construction-wise, very good. It's just that right now the flavor profile just really isn't enough oomph to really hold my attention, like to keep me attentive to it. Like, if we were in school and this is class, I'd be daydreaming. I'll still have 2 weeks for. So 400 left. Okay, good. So are you there just for another 2 weeks and then you're coming back, or are you going to be there for the foreseeable future? So it's just before the holidays. Gosh, it feels like it's been like ages. Well, you're not really missing much of anything here. Nothing's happening here. Do you guys watch much late night TV? Because when I get home, usually it's about 11 o'clock, and I'm usually watching some kind of YouTube videos. And for some reason, the YouTube algorithm is putting up Jimmy Kimmel videos. And they've got these like provocative like titles, like Trump does dumb shit kind of title, right? So I'll click on it to see what kind of dumb stuff they're saying. But I don't know about you guys, but Jimmy Kimmel's humor and jokes are just tired, like terrible. Like, I'm like, why am I watching this? This is just stupid. And they're like long. They're like 12-minute long videos. And I'm clicking way through before even like 2 minutes. I'm like, this is just dumb. Like, or I'll click through it and it's just like, this is just dumb humor. Like, it kind of reminds me of Bob Hope when I was young, right? Bob Hope, who everybody loved, would be out there and he would be telling all these jokes. And, he'd deliver the joke, right? Because somebody wrote it for him. He wouldn't even laugh at it. He'd like maybe smirk, but he didn't really enjoy the joke. Everybody was laughing and clapping because I'm sure the guys that are running the studio audience are telling them to clap because that's their job. But I remember watching Bob Hope when I was young, and I was like, this is just dumb humor. Like, it's not even interesting. It's just, and I kind of get that feeling watching Kimmel. I'm like, have you been at this for so long? Like, I didn't watch him. I don't really watch late night TV. That's not really, like, I think when you're Asian, like your family doesn't do those, or immigrant families. I don't think they watch the late night TV. So I didn't grow up watching late night TV. Actually, when I was a child, I was barred from like watching Saturday Night Live. Like, I couldn't watch that till I was years older. So Inting says, back in U.S. mid-February, travel such pain. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit pain. Yeah, when I went to Saudi Arabia last month, I left December 2nd, I think it was. By December 3rd, they had started placing the 24-hour testing requirement to come back to the U.S. That was kind of like, that was a bit of a pain. Dice says, did you see Paul Rudd and Jimmy Fallon do you a frame-for-frame remake of You Spin Me? No, I didn't see that. I don't really watch late night TV. Don't get me wrong. I don't really watch late night TV. I just, for some reason, the YouTube algorithm is sending me Jimmy Kimmel videos. I do watch sometimes if I'm interested like in an actress, like let's say Ana de Armas, right? If I'm interested like an actress like her, I'll punch in her name, and then like if she appeared on Jimmy Fallon, I'll watch that video. And I think Jimmy Fallon seems to be kind of funny. Like, seems like a good personality. But the stuff I'm seeing from Kimmel is just like, gosh. And my understanding is that other dude, the British guy, or the Welsh guy, not the Welsh guy, but the Scottish guy, was the guy that preceded Kimmel, or I don't know but he's kind of funny. I like his interaction with the actresses. Like when he had what's her name, Mara something, the one that looks like Anna Kendrick. Like, they had a good rapport. That was really interesting. But I have not seen the Jimmy Fallon stuff. Okay. I'll have to, maybe I'll look it up. Maybe I'll look that up. So the cigar, smoking the same, still the same. The draw, the construction, the burn, very good. Qualitatively, very good. Personal taste wise, yes, Tony, exactly. Craig Ferguson. I do like his interactions with people. Exactly, Rusty. Not Mara O'Meara. She was the Mara, the one that was in House of Cards. She was Kate Mara. Yeah, she looks kind of like, Anna Kendrick, I think. She lived in downtown Baltimore for a while in House of Cards. She was also in that movie with the Martian. She was on the boat, the spacecraft. Mara O'Meara. I don't know her. I don't think I know her. Oops. Let's see here. I'm not sure who Mara O'Meara is. Maybe you think of the same person. We can't remember these guys' names. But Ana de Armas, anytime she has an interview, I want to watch it. I thought she played a really great character in the new Bond. Fun. And she was also really good in the Knives Out. But the tabloid media did say that Ana de Armas and caused some marital problems for Daniel Craig and his wife. What's the name of his wife? The movie star. I can't remember. She was Matt Damon's girlfriend in the Adjustment Bureau, I think. All right, so we're going through the second and third. Oh, more stuff from the mailbag. So I got my swag. So my union sent me some swag. So my business, not my business agent, but the union secretary, she called me the other day, last week, 2 weeks ago. She's like, you haven't paid your dues yet. Oh, I didn't know that. All right, let me pay my dues. And so as we're talking, I said, hey, do we have any swag that I could get? And she said, oh, yeah, we've got some stuff. We got a hat. Nice. That's the thing about the union. We don't have enough swag. So I got the baseball cap, which is pretty cool. I'm kind of into it. Tan, some orange trim. And the back, Mid-Atlantic Studio Mechanics. Oh, not bad. So they sent me two. She sent two. So there's the cap and then the beanie. Mid-Atlantic region. Whoa. There it is. If I want to be a union sound guy again, I'm all ready. All right. Nice. That's that's all the mailbag this week. Nothing too much. I finally figured out how to mount the poles that I got last week to the ceiling. I haven't done it yet. I had to go buy the parts. Like buying parts is always kind of this mishmash of thing because I'm not really like I could go to certain companies and get the actual like piping, the poles, and all of the correct rigging hardware to use, but it's pretty expensive. So I'm trying to be very budget friendly. So you have to piece it together. And so it's been like a whole like jigsaw puzzle. And then finally, also last week that I didn't show you is that, or maybe I did, the fan came in finally for the exhaust system for the new studio space. So hopefully I'll get to work on that maybe this coming week. It's kind of chilly inside there, so it's a little bit difficult to work this time of year. But once that gets settled, then we can like actually move. Maybe we'll move the show into that space finally. Which is going to require a whole nother configuration of like stuff. Oh. So, Inting, are you out there in the PI smoking at the moment? Because it's like 9:45 in the morning there. I've been thinking about this not too a while back, but like I was thinking about the day when we finally get to really go back into the world again and start really traveling. I can't wear a beanie. I'm not one of those guys that wear beanies all day. Okay. But like I was thinking, it'd be kind of funny or fun to do the live stream from Asia, like in Manila or let's say Tokyo or something, where it would have to be like at 9:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I think that'd be kind of fun. Like we're in the daylight sitting by the pool or something like that, smoking away. Days are getting longer. That's true. That's true. Days are. Where was I? I was at Costco the other night. And I was kind of standing around, in line. And it looked kind of, you could see out the door, right? And I was like, what? It looks light still. I bent over. It was like, was it like 6:30, 6 o'clock? No, maybe just say, maybe 5. It was 5:30. I was like, oh, there's some still light. It's 5:30. Oh, man, that's amazing. For me personally, I'm not really like that whole time. Like especially after like October, into October and then into December, when the days really get shorter, it's like, oh, to me, that's like the hardest. That's the hardest time of the year because it's like it gets dark so early. Like, I really like the summertime. It's 9:30. It's still kind of light. You're like, oh yeah. I remember one summer we were in Edmonton, Canada, in Alberta. We were there for a trip, and my friends and I were all together. And I remember we're out in Edmonton at this sidewalk like restaurant. We're sitting in a restaurant al fresco. We're drinking and eating and all this and talking. And suddenly I was like, what time is it? It feels like it's only like maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock because of the light. Or maybe like 6 o'clock. I'm like, dude, it's 11:30. I was like, 11:30? Like there, I don't think it really got dark until like 1 that far up during the summer. It's like July. That's pretty trippy. I think that's trippy. So we're really kind of pushing through we're still in the second third. But like I said, it's been wrote since that last comment. It's just kind of, it's there. It's there. Construction and build, very good. The flavor, still very good. But not like dynamic enough to like be really. But good smoke production. Maybe it's time for some other drink. Maybe if I switch drinks, maybe that'll affect the palate and give some other flavors. So a couple weeks ago, we busted open the Coravon, right? That wine preservation system. And we did this. We used the Saint-Spirit Côte d'Aron, the Delas 2019. So this is the same bottle from back then. And we're going to give it a try and see how it's doing. See if we can remember how it tasted back then. Oh, I have to, oops. Let me show you what we're doing here. Tilt it over and then press the valve to open the gas. Oh, you have to keep it tilted, otherwise you could run into some problems. I think if you keep it bent over, it will continue to flow, especially now that there's so much more volume available inside the bottle. So the gas fills it. It has to fill it in order. It has to displace it. So it'll push a lot more quantity. Like that's a pretty full glass now. A bit tannic, dry. Like one of the things that I liked about this particular wine when we first opened the bottle was that there was this really explosion of ruby fruit, right? Really like very fruity, grapes and things like that. And now it's definitely toned down. It's not the same wine. Like I'm wondering, like, because I'm maybe using, I don't really know what I was doing, especially early on, if perhaps some air got into the bottle, oxygen, so it's caused some level of oxidation. It does have that kind of like a bit oxidized flavor or effect on the flavor, especially when I think about the original bottle, the original opening. All right. Now we've got more of this red wine. Tannic, dry. It's not tannic, but more dry. Like, the tannic really gets that kind of like harder edge to it. This one, not so much. All right, let's see if that does anything. Maybe not so much. Like this is a cigar. Like typically I'll watch shows while I'm having a cigar, and this is the flavor profile that it has now is one that I would smoke it because I'm watching a show, and it just kind of helps me occupy myself while I'm watching. But it's not really, the flavor profile really is not engaging to me. I'm not engaged with the flavor. And this is the challenge, I think, with like scoring and grading cigars, is that it's the same challenge as with coffee, grading coffee. Is that it's not necessarily, you have to be able to evaluate the coffee or the cigar almost separate, well, pretty much separate from your personal preference, right? Like the flavor is not, it's not really engaging me personally, but the flavor has been very consistent. The flavor has represented itself throughout the entire cigar, the entirety of the cigar. The construction has been very good. The smoke, but everything about it has been very consistent. So it's been very, very good. So right now, when it comes to the mug video, it's really just so right now I've been shooting B-roll, what we call B-roll stuff. So stuff that's not necessarily, like if you imagine like a lot of videos where we would consider, let's say like YouTube style videos, A-roll would be considered like all the talking parts, like, hey, this is the review and blah, 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 blah. This is the details about it and whatever, blah, 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 blah. I've shot none of that. That's relatively simple. Like I've kind of written part of the script for it, like all the keynotes, the key points for that. That's almost ready to go. Everything else though has been done, like all the drinking, all the testing of like how well does it hold temperature. The last thing I want to do is actually be in the frigid cold. The idea is that it's going to be like snowing with a good amount of snow and drinking the coffee and holding it right at that temperature. And actually, I think I don't know if did we use that? We did use it on one of these shows, right? So we'll probably use some footage from that. And then the thing that I think is so interesting, but also freaky about the Ember is that it holds the temperature. Like so far it's been very successful at holding temperature, even without a lid. It's holding the temperature in the environments that I put it in, which admittedly have not been very extreme. Like that's why I would like to have that snow, because if you sit outside in the bitter cold, like let's say we shot that part of it today, you're just sitting there in the bitter cold, but visually it just looks like it's it's just wintertime. It doesn't really give that impression of it that it's real. But if you're in the middle of snow, it's like, oh God, what are you doing out there, sitting there for an hour, 80 minutes, 90 minutes for like to drink a coffee? What are you, crazy? And so I think visually that's much more interesting. So that's one of the last things that I have left to do for it. But otherwise, like I said, it's a bit freaky in that like I think we as coffee drinkers, even when you're using thermal cups or thermal mugs, there's always a decline. There's always a decline in the temperature. Like the temperature is always cascading down at some rate of speed. But when the mug holds it at 140 degrees nonstop, it's kind of off. It's kind of like unnerving almost. Like you're like, that's kind of strange. Plus, in the YouTube, while I was watching, I've been watching a number of Casey Neistat's videos, and you guys might be familiar with Casey, but he doesn't produce many videos now. But he was very prolific a few years ago, and a lot of people will always like refer to him in the YouTube spheres. And I was watching some of his videos because his stuff didn't really strike me much as really interesting or terribly interesting before, but I was watching some of them recently, the last couple of days, and they're very. And I'm looking not necessarily about his story, but actually how he structures the story, and that's kind of interesting. So now we're getting a little bit of sharpness on the draw. But going back to this scoring thing, this is I think the challenge as being in scoring things, in grading and evaluating, like I said, is really to try to be separate from your subjective self and look at things objectively. And that's the idea behind the grading form, is that it's meant to be an objective evaluation of a cigar, so that the score that's derived from it is indicative of the quality of the cigar. It may not be something that you personally will like the actual experience may not be to your liking, but it will be of like it looks are there any problems to the cigar? What are the down points and the high points? But really part of using the scoring system now during these episodes is to really give it a run through and really see, are these the right categories? Are these the right scoring positions? Or should they be adjusted, and how should they be adjusted? What things are missing? Maybe there's a better way to do that, and hopefully if there are, we'll discover that as we continue forward. But right now, as it goes, the scoring positions that we're coming up with, this grading system, is dramatically different than what everybody else is using. Like, it's dramatic. Like the highest one so far is 82.25, which is 10 points less than a lot of other ones. So yeah, definitely the quality of the smoke is getting hotter now. Now that we're getting to the end of now we're getting through the last third, it's definitely getting hotter. So for the second third, we've been very, like I said, it's been very consistent, right? So the qualitative thing of the smoke is still very good. Flavors, very good. Right? The flavor is consistent. So when we start out, we give it a very good plus. Same thing. Body still kind of is low medium, low medium. And I'd still say it's the same. It's still the same. So so far consistent. Now we're starting to get a little bit of burn, like it's getting a little bit hot, getting a little bit sharp. So I think that's going to affect our burn and draw score. But 82.5 is still excellent. No, actually 82, is that right? 82, good, very good, excellent. Yes, that's right. 82.5 is excellent. So we got good, 6, 7, very good, 8, excellent, 9 is extraordinary, outstanding, and then extraordinary is 10. Like a 10 would be like the most incredible thing you've had. But I think that even at 82.25, that cigar, which was the first one of the year, the LCA 21 Reserva Vintage, that was a excellent cigar. That was great. That was really, really excellent. Really enjoyable, dynamic, interesting, good flavor. The construction, the draw, the burn, all of it came together really, really well. But I think, when you get to, and part of it is like, I like this style of scoring because, if you get a cigar that's really like, that actually gets in the 90s, you're really, because I think 90 and above is really the range where it's like, it's got to be really, really, and that's the awesome cigar. Favorite profile, medium. Well, no, I would say the body is medium, low medium. Flavor has been very good. So I've been giving it 7.5s because it's very good, very consistent. But like I said, so it was very good at the beginning, right? So very good. The second, third, by the time we got the second, third, it had kind of, on my particular palate, it had gotten very like static. Like I described, rote. It was very, that was the word that came to mind, it was rote after that point. Now you'd think that that should lower the score, but really it's not about lowering the score, because my personal palate, my personal taste is not really being thrilled by it. But the cigar, the flavor itself is still consistent to the first third, right? I hope does that make sense? Brian says, I picked up a jade. I'm curious the jade for $7. Oh, no, thank you. That's very kind. I am looking forward to trying that. So are these the regular production now? I'm hoping that they will be, because if they are as good as the one that we had, actually I've had two of them so far, two Toros, the one on the show, and then and I smoked one later. If they are as good, man, those are fantastic. Now I'm curious to know, like, I mean, maybe we'll take that one. Maybe that one I'll run through the scoring system as well, just to see exactly how it goes, Which is also why I said that last week, that at some point in time, I'm going to put the Revenge through it. So that'll give me kind of like maybe like a baseline, or just kind of a comparative scoring position to look at, because just because I like a cigar as one of my favorites doesn't necessarily mean that it'll receive the highest score, right? Because again, we're looking at qualitative aspects of the cigar rather than subjective aspects, right? Because just because the cigar speaks to me in a very personal way doesn't necessarily mean that it's qualitatively the best. I know that sounds a little bit anachronistic. I'm going to ash it a little bit, but like in the cigar, in the coffee world, I found that like we use this scoring system that we're using for the cigars is derived from that system. So I found coffees that are, what we would score qualitatively is 82, 83, 85, which is, excellent quality. They would be very enjoyable cigar coffees, but the stuff that I really liked didn't necessarily always end up being the highest score. Tony says, spoiler, Brian, they probably aren't. It would be something nice if they did. And I also thought that the Imperial Jades were going to be only an Asian release. So I was surprised that you found some at Raoul's, I imagine, right? Like the one that I might be curious to see is like a lot of people that we know tend not to find the Gurkha line of cigars to be to our enjoyable level, right? Like we're not, like, it's, at least for myself, like when I see Gurkha, I'm not really going to reach for it, because it's like I've had enough experiences with them that I just didn't enjoy them. But I do wonder, like, if we were to use the scoring system on it, how would it do? How would it fare? Brian says, anachronistic is not what I want. I want to change in each third and improve. Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that the people that are more advanced in smoking in their palates want that change. But I do wonder, like, for example, let's say the Revenge, right? Is that really a cigar that changes dynamically through the through the three thirds? Or is it a static cigar? Like, is it just that particular blend hits the notes that I really like and does it throughout the cigar? So dynamism isn't, if that's it, let's presume that's the case. And if that was the case, then the dynamism really isn't there, right? It doesn't have that dynamic switch and change. It's just delivering consistently throughout the whole cigar. Like, for example, like for you, Brian, let's say with those Lanceros CRVs that you really like, or those tropical smelling Ashton VSGs. Like, if you were to get those again and look at them, would they change dynamically through the 3/3, or would they be relatively static? It's static, but the price is but I think it's also one of those things where like we want the price, like we definitely would like the lower price for sure. But I do find that even though if I buy like a more budget friendly priced cigar, does that it may or may not be very dynamic, right? It may be very static. I think well, I don't know, maybe more to explore in that respect. I think breaking out the word anachronistic is definitely the word of the day. So we definitely get some sharpness on the burn, the smoke. Not really the burn, but the more the smoke. Like there's a little bit of sharpness on the tongue, like almost like a heat sharpness. I'm always trying to drop big words, because I don't think I did very well in the SATs. So I want to compensate for that by speaking extemporaneously. And I want to have serendipitous findings in my cigar smoking. Are you guys good at puns, by the way? Just think about these big words, maybe think of puns. So there's this guy on YouTube, one of the guys that does a lot of reviews about YouTube tech. His name is Tom Buck. Nice guy. He makes interesting videos. But stuff about like, maybe you guys wouldn't be so interested in, but it's about like gear and stuff like that for YouTubers. But he's always using puns. And I was trying to I was chatting with him a little bit on one of the videos. And I was like trying to think of puns. And I can't really think of puns very well. Brian says, most of my favorites are static, but I do have dynamic cigars for especially. Oh, okay. So Brian, in your case, like which cigars do you feel are very dynamic in the way that the flavors perform throughout the cigar? I'm curious to know. Puns. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. That is very kind. That's very kind. I haven't done any live streams this week. Like last week, I did a couple of live streams on Instagram. This week, I didn't do any. Like, it's kind of like the Instagram live streams are kind of like spur of the moment. Like if I want to make something and I want to share that. I did make my blueberry muffins today. Made a 6 batch of them, and I really enjoyed them. They turn out pretty well. Like when I was a child, my aunt lives in Boston. And when I was a child, she would come visit us. And back then they had a bakery, or they had a department store in Boston called Jordan Marsh. And Jordan Marsh had a bakery. And Jordan Marsh, the bakery there, would make these blueberry muffins. And they were the very best blueberry muffins I've ever had in my life. Like they struck me to the core when I was young. And that's always stayed with me. So every blueberry muffin that I eat, I always base on that experience, right? And so several years ago, after we opened the Hampton shop, I was like, we're gonna make those blueberry muffins. So I did a lot of research into trying to find the recipes, and found a couple recipes, worked on them, tweaked them up a bit, and came up with the recipe for it. And it's really, like, it uses a lot. Like I was making it today, it uses a lot of like blueberries, like 2.5 cups of blueberries, which is a ton of blueberries. Like, so when you open it up, it's got super chock full of blueberries. It's really quite nice. I did forget a step. Like we're supposed to use like Rusty, what's the really coarse sugars called that you use as like baking toppings? I forgot the term for it, and I didn't have any of that. But sometimes if we don't have it, well, I'll just use like demerara sugar for it because that's got a little bit. The crystals are smaller. Like the other crystals are super large, not like the big white round stuff. Not that stuff. I don't really like that. But the other ones that are like more crystal, I really like those. Many of my Davidoff cigars, but most of their labels are static. Okay, got it. Oh, on the Spro channel. No, I have not done any since before I went to Saudi Arabia. I've been thinking about restarting them. I really need to. I really should. Actually, the Spro Coffee channel has been a little bit static this last month or so. I haven't released anything in the last like maybe a month. I was just thinking about it. Actually, I was listening to a guy, this other YouTube guy, talking about different YouTube release theories, and there's something called the DPP that YouTube uses as their part of their algorithm that determines what you as a viewer will see on your homepage as their suggestions. And this guy was talking about the release schedule. So a lot of YouTubers will try to release one video a week, which for most people is it's a lot of work to do some of these videos. Like this one video that I was working on today, again, goes back to the Betos guy, the cobbler down in Falls Church. And I had this video almost laid out completely. And then actually what happened was I was watching this video from Anthony Bourdain. He did an episode of No Reservations, where he went to Armenia. And I watched that and I was like, you know what? That's this Betos video, because Steve is from his family's from Armenia. And the Armenians have this whole like history of just being shit on by everybody, by the Ottomans, then like generations before the Ottomans. So they had a genocide in 1915. And part of the interview that I did with Steve, he was talking about why his family came to the United States. And so his family, after the genocide in Armenia, his grandfather, so that was 1915, his grandfather emigrated or fled to Lebanon. And in Lebanon, there's actually a very large Armenian community. And actually what I found out is that in Armenia today, there's a population of 3 million Armenians, but the Armenian diaspora is actually 8 million. So there's 8 million Armenians worldwide, mostly in the United States, Syria, and Lebanon. So there's more Armenians outside of Armenia. And so I decided, maybe we should look, because he was talking his story about how his family came here, how his father really kind of gave up everything. Like his father didn't want to move to the United States. His father wanted to stay in Lebanon, despite there being a war. And he talked about how in his neighborhood they were getting bombed, and how one of his friends, this girl, she got hit by an RPG and that blew off her legs in front of her father. Like it's pretty heavy, some of the stuff. And so I wanted to incorporate more of that into the storyline. So I've actually kind of I'm starting to recut it now. Not turbinado and not sugar in the raw. It's actually a larger crystal of sugar that's really intended as a baking topping. I really forgot the name of it. I would get it from International Gourmet Foods, which is an industry wholesaler down in Virginia. Which I haven't been buying from, because now that the main shop is closed and our bakery there is closed, I can't really, I guess I could, but I really like I say with the flowers, right? I really like the King Arthur, but the Sir Galahad. And I don't think that the AP flower that King Arthur releases as a consumer product is the same as the Sir Galahad. It's close, but I don't think it performs exactly the same. So I would like to get more of that, but it's what am I going to do with 50 pounds of flour now? We would go through 50 pounds like that before. Now it would take me a year to go through it. So here we are. We're getting a little bit closer to the end, and it's still the same. I mean, it's still performing in the way that it has been performing through the entire cigar. Actually, right now, to my palate, it feels like it's coming alive a little bit, like it's getting a little bit more peppery, a little more interesting. Maybe it's in the last throes of its existence. like it's fighting against the dying of the light. I think it's just called coarse. You know, it could be. I don't recall. Maybe I should see if I can look it up. Let's see, coarse. Oh yeah. I guess it's called Deco. Coarse sugar. You tell for instance, coarse sugar is much larger crystals than white sugar. Let's see what my baking edition has to say. Maybe it is just called coarse sugar. You're probably right. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it right here. They probably have it at Williams Sonoma, but it'll probably cost like $30. Well, how much is it here? I should look here. Let's see, what is it online? Oh, $8.99 at Walmart. Not too bad. But I mean, we're using like here, like this little sprinkles, $3, 8 ounces. Like we're talking about, we're taking like per muffin. It's like you put a lot, like you just kind of stack it, right? You just kind of pour it on and let it mound up, and then you bake it into it. Oh, Marie has a bag. Where'd she get it from? Ask her. Maybe she'll know where to get it from. Sparkling sugar. That could be. And Young Ma, hey man, how are you doing? Thanks for the cigar, Brian. Brian was kind enough to send Young Ma a cigar. What cigar did he send you? That's something I didn't ask. And Young Ma, have you tried it yet? I know you only got it yesterday. So if that's the case, will this be your first cigar? Shimmer Sugar. Oh, I haven't heard that one. Shimmer. Oh, I guess it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, okay. Oh, sent me a photo. Okay. No, not my photo. Okay, good. Oh, okay, let's see here. That's going to be Instagram. Did you send it Instagram-wise or the other way? No worries. Did I forget letter cutter because it's sitting on the desk? Oh. Well, that's very kind of you too, at least. Oh, nice. You even sent them cutter and letter. Gosh, dude, you sent everything. The full care package. That's awesome. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, so we're finishing up, getting close to the end of the Plasencia Cosecha 149. It's been very good. Like right now, like the first third was, pretty interesting, spicy, and then it kind of the second third and through the third, it had been relatively static. But now it's really starting to perk up. Like we're definitely getting more black pepper, a little bit more dynamism. Oh, Steve. Oh, gotcha. But definitely there's still that sharpness that we were experiencing a little bit ago. That has come and that has stayed, that sharpness. Oh, Rusty sent me a message earlier today about where is it? Can I find it? About a $500 cigar. Let's see if we can find this. I'm going to drop it over here. Oops. So here it is. We just smoked a $500 cigar. Look at these guys. So nicely dressed. Beards. Maybe I should grow a beard. See if I can get that to fill in. Oh, you sense either. Decent cigar. Okay, great. The Davidoff Oro. Is that what we're... Oh, that's the one you sent? Oh, that's a very nice cigar. So here it is. 2022 marks Bovada's 25th anniversary. Oh, I see. Davidoff Oro Blanco. Okay, $500. Wow, that's... Let's see what they have to say about it. Let's see if they have that.
But I'm pretty sure that's what he has. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So they're smoking
one of the few people I know that
$1,000 in cigars.
I think I can hear our friend.
Oh, but it's from Bovada. So Bovada probably paid for their cigar. Ooh, $500. Did they talk about it?
Any other time of year, and it's just spectacular. And I think for those of us that really love the part of cigar smoking that forces you to be present, I think you become more aware of those moments.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think it's really special, and I think it's really important for people to notice that, because those are moments that allow you to connect with the space and the energy around you. I grew up in a family or in an environment that, you know.
All right, that's enough of that. Oh, the 21 Reserve Vintage. Oh, yeah, that. What do you think of that, Steve? I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was a really, really enjoyable cigar. All right, enough of these guys. Can't play it too long, otherwise they might try to claim the video. So coming down, it's a little more interesting from a flavor perspective, but still very, very consistent. Break out the bow ties for the 100th episode. Oh, we should. Although, you know, these guys are nicely dressed. You know, one thing that I think about when we think about things like this, when they're all like fancily dressed, is that doesn't this mean that they're going to get a lot of, like, like, I would always be concerned, like, if I have a suit, like these guys, like this guy on the left, right, with the stripes, that looks like a really nicely constructed suit. The guy on the right, the blue suit, not as nice. The other guy, the older guy, that's a nice suit. Like, sometimes my t-shirts will smell like smoke. I don't really want my suits to smell like smoke. Oh, I'm glad you found that enjoyable. Yeah, that was really... All right, right on. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I haven't worn the bow tie on the show since we did the Rocky Patel Mareva for the World Championship cigar, which is something I still have to go back to. I gave the 21 a 69. So we're getting down. But $500. Have any of you guys tried that? Brian, have you tried that $500 cigar? I wonder, like, can a cigar really be worth $500? How about in closing? Do these guys talk about anything in closing?
But smoke it at the right time, with the right company, in the right setting. Like we're going to Alaska to just.
He's a big guy.
I don't know. Yeah, dude. Huge guy. Cool guy. Love cigars.
Necessarily always alone, but with people that you choose to be with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's by yourself. Other times it's a very select group of people that you know you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Nice job, Eladio. Great cigar.
Hats off to you. This is fantastic.
Great treat. Celebratory sticks. What are you going to ring the new year in with? What's your celebratory stick?
And I inhaled a full, it's pretty cool.
Very nice. And longer. Don't oversmoke it, but then keep it hot enough that it burns the wrapper. That's how.
Lap on the shore. But I do believe that if you don't leave space for moments of uninterrupted.
All right. These guys don't get to the point. I want to know what they think rather than just $500. Oof. But really, if you smoke a $500 cigar, I guess the question is, how honest can you really be about it? Like, if you're going to smoke $500, especially if you're going to smoke a $500 cigar on a show by the humidifier manufacturer, perhaps one that they even gave you to smoke for their episode, are you going to say really, how candid will you really be about that? That's what I wonder. Guy on the right looks like an Alton Brown with hair. I presume that's a pejorative statement. And is he smoking that with a Starbucks? Probably. Like, that's one thing that I wonder about. Like, which is why for our show here, I've always made a point of it to most of it, for I'd say 90%, 95% of what we smoked on the show, it's always been cigars we purchased so that we can speak honestly about it, like really what we really think about it. And I think that's something where, I don't know if our viewers, and I don't, honestly, I don't really read or watch a lot of cigar reviewers, so I don't really know for sure, but maybe if you guys do, you can tell me more about it. But I wonder, like, if guys really come out and say that they didn't like particular aspects of it, they didn't like the cigar overall. And especially when it comes to like I see this in the cigar forum when I read it. Like, there's a number of brands that are out there that everyone seems to make the presumption that it's always great, that it's always good, that it's always like going to be an awesome experience. And I just don't find that to be the case. Like, it's not always awesome. Like, I'll find cigars that are from like very like famous manufacturers, like let's say Padron or Fuente or something like that. And I think that it's not. I think it's something where we should be truly honest about what the experience is. If you spend $500 on a cigar, of course you're gonna tell everyone's the best things. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too. And we're almost at the very end. Like, we're really getting down to the very, very, very bottom of the cigar. All right, so let's see here. I think we're very consistent throughout. All right, so here's what I'm giving it. Right, exactly. Like if you get these cigars, like I think a lot of people, like let's say like these guys with the Davidoff, right? Davidoff, of course, is a very respectable manufacturer, very well renowned, very like loved by many, very expensive at any of their price points. Like I'd see these guys in that. I think there's a lot of hesitancy amongst cigar smokers to be critical of cigars. which is why I try to be very candid in what I write or what I talk about. So here's what we're doing. Here's our scoring that I gave. Fragrance, draw, 825. Flavor, 7.5. Body, 825. And that was pretty consistent throughout because it did have the same flavor performance and body performance throughout the 3/3. I thought the burn and draw were really excellent. So 8.5. Consistency, like it's really, I would say, outstanding. So 9. And then our overall score, 825. So let's see what we got here. We'll calculate that up. I'm going to take one more puff. Put it down now. All right, let's score it up now. $825. Oops. Oh, darn it. Made a mistake, sorry. 825 plus 7.5 plus 825, 7.5, 825, 7.5, 825, 85, 9, 825. Oh, interesting. So I get on this scoring 81.25. That's the second highest scoring cigar we've had on the show this year. Let me write this down, finish writing this all out here. So that's interesting. So there we are, 81.25. So far, second highest performing cigar, second to the LCA 21 Reserva. Perhaps it's not really the cigar that I would personally like to reach for again. Like, would I buy it again? It wouldn't be the first choice. But, very good. Excellent cigar overall. Not necessarily to my palate. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is. All right, so I guess that's it for this week. We're gonna drop our little theme song here. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you spending us. We're gonna be back again next Thursday. And next Thursday, when we come back, we're going to be smoking the Crowned Heads Le Pâtissier, which is one that I'm kind of interested to know about because I've heard some people talk very highly and persuasively about the Le Pâtissier. And then further coming up, if you want to see what we're going to have coming in the next couple of weeks, it's down in the show notes below. We've got the Just Some Crawl FDF TBA on February 10th. February 17th, we've got the Dapper La Madrina Toro. So maybe this coming week, I'll try to get more cigars to push us into March so that we can have a little more schedule available for us. But as always, thank you very much. I appreciate you spending time with me. Hopefully you come back again next week. We'll be back again 8 o'clock on Thursday night. And that kind of thing. And yeah. So hope your cigars are good. And we'll see you next time.